Hello, everyone, and welcome to Dame. This is a Random Rants episode where we are going to discuss the big topic of DLC. We're going to get everyone's opinions and get a yay or nay from each one of us. I'm Raid.
I'm Sosie.
I'm Jelly.
I'm Mano.
You're here. I'm here. Let's do that.
Right now.
Are you sure? Right now?
Right now.
Okay.
We're doing it.
Right now.
Let's get to it.
Right now? All right, everyone.
So why don't you start us off with kind of introduction or a brief overview of what Sakurai has said so far?
Well, and I'll also lay out how this is going to go down. What we'll do is, we're going to give the intro like you just said, Sosie, and then we'll go to each person and give them a chance to say their thoughts. We'll give maybe a small little time for others to say something else if they want, but we're going to go down one by one, get thoughts from everyone, and then we'll have everyone say yay or nay. We should clarify that for this DLC topic, we're going to be talking about two kinds of DLC, the two kinds of in the DLC umbrella. One of them is content DLC, which is things like if you were to add a new stage or a new character or more music or more trophies, etc., etc., etc. More event managers. But then the other kind of DLC we're going to talk about is balancing and patching. And we'll get a yay or nay from everyone on that. But like Sosie said, why don't we guys just show you some of the things we found. The quotes that we have up here are from last year's E3, where Sakurai was asked about these things. I'll read it. As you can see right there, that's pretty simple. No current plans for Smash Brothers, Wii U, 3DS, and everything. He just basically says that he just wants to get the game done and make it as full as possible. He hasn't really thought, or he's not like planning DLC. The second thing I have for you all and for us, another interview, I asked him about it again. He said, it's not if I didn't like the DLC, it's just that I do not really have time to think. I'm too busy to work on the game and to include a maximum of content. That's really kind of
Good English.
Good English. The goal is to propose a complete and interesting gaming experience for players. In principle, I'm not opposed to DLC. I love those proposed for the game Fallout 3, for example. So that's more on the content side. Mm-hmm. And then on the balancing side, it says, it is difficult to say at present. Rather, we obviously try to keep the best balance. I'm going to jump to the next paragraph. That said, I think patches are an important tool to maintain the balance of a game. Once this last released, as you sure already know, the reputation of characters who are considered weak or powerful is something to which players are very interested on the internet. We'll have this up. You guys can read the rest of this. That's just a brief overview of what he said. Mm-hmm. We're not necessarily here to argue whether or not there will be DLC. We're here to argue whether or not it's a good idea. Whether you would want DLC in the game. Okay?
Yeah.
Of both kinds. Any questions? Mm-hmm. Good? Good? All right. We are going to start in pretend alphabetically with Anno Nano. So, Anno Nano, the floor is yours. Speak your mind.
Well, I mostly like to contradict everything you guys have to say and show everyone on the internet what a fool you all are. So I don't really have much, content in my mind. However, hopefully Sakurai can patch some stuff into that later on as well. I have talked with Raid a lot about this, and also a couple of my other friends. I think that patching in and of itself is a good thing. It can really help balance out legitimate inequalities in the game. However, there's a lot of games out on the internet that I think have come. Well, the player base has come to rely a little bit too much on patching. For instance, in StarCraft 2, not to say that all players are
This way.
too dependent on patching, but there are many players who, whatever problems they come across, it needs to be patched. They don't really kind of take into account the strengths and weaknesses of their character to their full extent, and sometimes it just takes a little bit more effort delving into characters or whatnot, stages, physics to make the game, or to make everything on a more balanced level. You just have to get to that point. However, on the whole, it's a good thing. It really does help balance out weaknesses. I think maybe a couple of patches will be, good to get rid of like the most broken parts.
And also, like, I think it's hard to tell how balanced a game is, or until you actually give it out to the players. Like, I'm sure when Sakurai was balancing Brawl, that there was lots of things they weren't able to tell until it was actually out in the user base, and that's why I think it's kind of impossible to get it right the first time, or just in development.
Sure, definitely. I think that's part of the thing about balancing, though, is it's all a matter of, like, what you do in development is you have test players, whether they're your own, development team, or you get outside people to come in and test. But you get people to play it, and then as you observe errors and, like, recognize these weaknesses or strengths, then you rebalance them. And that's obviously not something you're going to be able to catch without, a massive audience not going to catch the majority of these issues. Mm-hmm. And so I think that we'll be seeing a lot of broken, things as Smash 4 comes out, and that the development team will hopefully, patch these. As to whether they should do a lot of minor patches, that's where I really dislike games like the patching of games like StarCraft 2. There's just a point where you really should just let the players go at it for a few years. And that's what I've liked with what we've seen with Brawl. Since I've only been in competitive scenes since I came into Brawl, just looking at the movement of characters over time, discovering which stages are really the best, or how we shifted away from a lot of stages like Norfair and Brinstar.
So sad.
You sad about that?
I just shed a silent tear, just so you know.
Over which one? Norfair?
Norfair, Rainbow Cruise, Picto Cat.
Rainbow Cruise? Oh gosh.
Those were the days. Those were the days.
But
counterpicking was taken to an extreme. It was awesome.
Seriously. And in any case, I think, like you saw, like characters like Olimar, originally they're considered mid-tier at best. And just because we've learned how to manage the character more effectively, learned how to really, perfect him, we've taken him to limits that we never have done possible before. I think he's like number 3 on the current tier list. He's either like 3 or 4. He's up there with like Diddy and Ice Climbers, both of which also were ranked a lot lower earlier on. Mm-hmm. And you see characters like Snake, who was second place, dropping not a lot, but a fair amount. And then characters like DK, who was high tier at the beginning. I mean, just because he was so powerful, he was so good at, punishing reads, and that's what Brawl focuses around a lot. You just can't use him as effectively anymore. People have grown past that with every other character in the cast. And so he's dropped significantly. I think is he low tier now, or is he still lower mid tier? Yeah, but he's very low. And so I think what I hope is that, that's kind of the perspective that will be taken. But regardless of my hopes, patches on the whole are good when done sparingly. So as to DLC, I'm against the idea of DLC.
Content DLC.
Like content DLC.
Okay.
However, like what Sakurai is saying is the way I agree with going about it. Because you see a lot of companies, there's a new game that came out recently called Tropical 5. And that series, the Tropical series, I believe it was Tropical 4, came out, and it has like thousands of DLC content patches. Mm-hmm. And it's like, have a new uniform, or add this concrete building to your, what buildings you can build. And it's hundreds or thousands of these, like, $1 to $5 DLC patches. And you just have to think, well, if I bought all this DLC, that's like 3 times the cost of the game. Mm-hmm. These people were coming into the game development thinking, we're going to add DLC to the game later. Yeah. And, what Sakurai is saying is, we want to make the game as best as we can. And then maybe afterwards, if we see that there's something we really want to add in, we think we can add to the game that's really, really good, it fits in, then let's, if we have a chance, let's do it. Let's throw it in. I can agree with that, but for a developer, you should never have that on your mind as a developer in the development of the game. Not until like the last, I'd say, month as you're trying to finalize everything to even start to say, maybe we should consider DLC. So I'm against DLC on the whole, but I understand it's kind of a necessary evil that needs to happen for certain games or at certain times. So.
Okay. Okay. And if you have anything else to say, we'll probably get a last remarks section from everyone near the end. Let's jump to Jelly so we can get some of the same questions.
Just jump into Jelly.
The DLC patching and the DLC content. Jelly.
Okay. So just DLC in general, I have pretty similar ideas to Nano. I think that content DLC, or just DLC in general, can be a great thing. I believe that specifically Nintendo, they really like finishing their games and like having it as a complete game before they sell it to you as a general rule. And I think that is a really good thing. A really good way to even keep your customers. I mean, a lot of games with just massive amounts of those DLC content, it's obvious that the company is just like, let's milk these consumers out of their money, and
because they'll buy it.
They will buy it.
Tropical Man.
They will buy it. Yes, they will buy all those sexy outfits. They will buy that extra shopping cart vehicle that you can ride down the street. But I really like how Sakurai says this as well. He's like, right now we don't want to think about it. We're not thinking about what kind of things we can add or make you buy, but we're thinking about how to complete the game and make it a complete experience that someone who doesn't get any DLC will enjoy. Specifically, or especially when you spend that much money to buy a game, I think you want that full experience, not have to spend that extra money to get all this
60 to 70 bucks is a lot to ask of people, especially with the world economy as it is overall.
Exactly. And so we all want a full game for our $60. I think that is very general. And and Nintendo and DLC in general, I think that they're taking an interesting spin on it. A lot of times, recently with their games, they just release random patches. Like, they never tell us anything, but then they're like, oh yeah, there's this, or like a patch, I guess, or DLC or something like that. Like Pikmin 3, last week, we just got a new touchscreen thing.
Touchscreen controls
really
update.
Yeah, that's what
was
kind of
really cool.
It was way cool.
Very, substantial
And
as
free.
DLC. And
Yeah.
DLC.
And I would love to see Nintendo do more of that. I would love to see that in Smash Brothers, because Sakurai's got crazy ideas that work well in Smash Bros. And if he comes up with something like last month or something, and he has this crazy idea of something that could just change it, even just a little bit, or just, add that little extra bit of content, I would love to see that. And so that kind of DLC or patching or whatever you want to call it, updating, I think that would be really cool to see with Smash Bros. And see what that could do. As far as patching goes, I have very mixed feelings. As a general rule, I do not like patching. And with my experience with Brawl and Melee and 64, I mean, I'll just throw that out.
Smash cred!
It seems like Smash in particular, there is so much to learn. Like, you thought you knew a matchup, but then something changes it so quickly, or a lot of things like that happen. For example, with Brawl, we've seen where we thought Olimar wasn't that good. We kind of discussed this earlier. We thought Olimar wasn't that good, and then an Olimar from Japan comes and wrecks all our Meta Knights. Like, everyone. And, yeah.
I was just gonna say, and I also think that, as even though the character seems busted, like, as you learn it, it becomes more manageable. Like my husband Raid, for example, he says he'd rather fight a Meta Knight than a Snake any day because even though Meta Knight's technically top tier, he knows how to fight Meta Knights at this point because you had to learn because Meta Knights were everywhere. So I do think it's more important that the gamers adapt to the game rather than the other way around, just because it becomes this weird needy thing.
Yeah.
But I still think that, sometimes things are just a little ridiculous and you have to fix it. But that's my
Right.
If I were to give my ideas on that, it's just gamers are whiny, and if we give everything that every gamer wanted,
Okay, you need to stop whining about gamers being really.
they are so whiny.
This is the internet.
Stop.
we should get all our games free.
All those whiny gamers.
Free
Hashtag
DLC.
whiny gamer.
So I think that when you get into that, this game's going to be patched, let's spam Nintendo with this, this character is so dumb. I mean,
Have given it time to
the
figure
dumb
out.
thing about that is you get people that don't know what they're talking about. Ganon's too strong, his moves are too, they kill too early, I can't do anything against him. And it's just
Online petitions.
and
baby.
I feel like, DLC has its place. Just a second. I mean, patching has its place. I really do think so. But personally, for me, I feel like patching should be an overall thing. Like, if there was a certain glitch that every character could, use, or something like that.
Or
Blood doesn't.
or the
Wait,
safe,
Wait,
the safe thing in Pokemon or something.
Yeah, if there's something like that is an overall thing, I think that's okay. Maybe very, very small changes to characters. I am not for changing characters drastically whatsoever.
I was just going to throw out the Ike example. Like, if you've ever played with any of your casual friends, you know that Ike is the character they all fear the most.
It's true.
It just seems so overpowered to them. And then we all look at each other and we're just like, this is a joke.
It's like, have you ever tried getting them off the stage?
You ever played a good Meta Knight and then you just spam B an entire match and then they go, you can never play Meta Knight ever again. And you don't mean Meta Knight. But, that's just the kind of,
Just
I just
start
want to put
pressing
that out there. We have to adapt to the game.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's how I feel. I feel like DLC has its place. Patching, if it is going to happen, I feel like Nintendo should maybe do a little bit of research on how competitive how the competitive thing is changing. But I feel like Nintendo should make that change, and they should be very small and minimal.
Okay. So, all right, let's jump to Socito.
That's me. So,
See.
when it comes to DLC,
Go.
when it comes to DLC, I mean, I love the DLC in Pikmin 3. Before I kind of had an overall negative thing, they just want to suck our money out. But, DLC in Pikmin 3, we got a ton of maps for, $3. Me and Ray got to play through all of them and get, all the platinums. It was way fun. But I do think sometimes DLC makes it seem like the game was unfinished. And I feel like maybe Pikmin was that a little bit because it was a release title that they maybe didn't have to get
an intended release title.
an intended release title, but it
Launch
didn't. But I think maybe that. Well, I would love more maps from them, and I think that they're great. But I do think that DLC should be in moderation. I'll get to what I think DLC should be for Smash Brothers in a second after I let Anno comment.
I'd just like to throw in, some of you out there might be thinking, well, you got, tons of maps for $3. Well, you're just spoiled with their DLC. I just like to say that, we're spoiled with DLC, and the DLC that you've gotten sucks. You've gotten crap DLC. We've gotten good quality DLC. So
Nintendo is really nice to their consumer base, in my opinion. But, poor Rayman. Sad Rayman. But, so Smash, okay, a character? No. I don't think there should be a character out at all. At least, especially, I thought it was kind of a kick in the face with, PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale. It's within a year, there was 3 more characters you could buy. 4 more characters you could buy. And I'm just like,
and they had planned more.
Yeah, and I was like, that's kind of super lame because I mean, if you can access every character, like that really affects how you're going to be able to battle them and how much you know and different things like that I think are important. And I'll let Jelly comment.
And it's just like, who would want just Marvel vs. Capcom 3? It doesn't even have Phoenix Wright in it. They should have just finished it that way. None of this Ultimate stuff.
I know, right?
Why would you play that game without Phoenix Wright?
How long was it that Ultimate came out after Marvel vs. Capcom 3? It was like a few months, wasn't it?
I don't even know, but
I believe it was a year, wasn't
a
it?
year. Okay.
Maybe, okay.
Let me find out.
But how long has Brawl been out? How long has it been since?
2008.
So it's been 6 years. So not too bad. But I'm thinking, you know, maybe it would be cool, like maybe a year or two after it releases, to maybe do a fan character or something. But I wouldn't want it to be super expensive, or maybe everyone would get it. I don't know. Because I do think that one of the problems Sakurai has is that they can only
10
put in
months.
so many characters. But I definitely don't want there to be like the little,
So maybe you're suggesting that they would put in the character under a patch.
yeah,
Like a free
patch.
patch. Okay.
Like a patch, like a year later, be like, I mean, how hype would it be if like we get Smash this year, and the next E3 they're like,
Wonder
Hey.
Red.
free Gizmo patch. Everybody seems to want Gizmo. I don't know. Oh wait, no,
That's
Gino. Sorry, I said Gizmo.
Gizmo's
Exactly.
my old nickname.
Now I
Whoa.
look like a total noob
Jelly and
on the
Smash.
internet,
No, Gizmo. Jelly is a 23-year-old
Gmo.
me.
but people,
Gino.
Gino, sorry, I still need to play that game. But yeah, like I think that'd be super cool. Likely, not really. And I think a stage or songs here and there would be fine, you know. But that's cute.
Creepy.
But overall, I think DLC should, be an afterthought, not, let's plan this game, and we want to get it done this day, so let's put all this in the DLC box and have it happen later. Be careful with Google Images, Jesse. There are children watching.
No one's watching.
So, with patches, I personally think patches are important. I do think they should be fairly minimal. Like, I think they should wait 6 months, then do a patch, and then maybe a year from then do another patch, because we saw the crazy Alamo stuff pretty late in the game.
And Zero Suit.
And Zero Suit.
Yep.
And but I think that Brawl would have been a lot more balanced of a game if there was a patch for Meta Knight. I know Jelly is against any patches, but it took us a long time to learn how to get around Meta Knight, because he wasn't just top tier. He was way above the next tier guy. And I feel like even if they just nerfed him a little bit, so he's a little closer to number 2, it would have been better for everyone. So it isn't like Melee was, where it's everyone's playing Fox on Final Destination. Except they turn into Meta
Please
Knights.
don't go to that.
And Falco.
Yeah, but now it's
And
all
Pichu.
Meta
And Pichu.
Knights, and so
T-Rex.
Meta Knights and Snakes, and so I feel like a patch could help. I mean, it's kind of, in my opinion, it's kind of ridiculous that Snake's heavier than Bowser. And to me, that doesn't make sense. And I think if he wasn't as heavy, he wouldn't be busted. And
Well, I
I
would
just do it-
argue against their, decisions on character statistics. It's just, making sure they all work well
Yeah.
together.
I just find it so frustrating when I'm fighting a Snake, and I know that I have to get him twice the percentage that I can let him get me in order to win each
Right.
time.
And that's where the problems start to come in.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that's my opinion. I'm minimal patching, but I do think they should wait. They shouldn't just be week 2, here's all the problems, let's fix them. It should be hey, after a few good big tournaments, let's see what those top characters really are, and maybe space them out a couple. DLC, I personally don't think that if they do some, I think they should be big and worthwhile. If not, doing some extra stage music and stuff is cool, but not necessarily, I think, worth our time or whatever. Though Jesse loves having extra stage music. Ray loves having extra stage music. But yeah, I think that's my can of worms right there.
Gross.
Ew.
The fish. The fish from Icicle Mountain. And now from
Force
Balloon
Smash.
Fight. The 3DS Balloon Fight stage. Okay. Okay.
Okay, now it's just your turn, right?
It's back to me. Alright, before I jump into it, I want to just throw out some interesting perspectives on what DLC could mean. I've been thinking about just how to. So many thoughts.
Anything. DLC can mean anything.
So much thought. If I am to think of the games most beloved for their balance, actually some of the most beloved fighting games, a lot of them never had a single patch or any sort of balance. I'm thinking about Brood War. I'm thinking about some of the old Street Fighter games. I'm talking about Melee. Yes, Anna?
How's that balanced?
I gotta be honest with you. That's part of the thing, though. It was because they weren't patchable.
Okay.
Back then, that balance balance or patching couldn't be an issue because it wasn't possible or plausible.
Right.
You're not going to re-release the game.
And so it's not like gamers are going to come out and yell about balancing.
Except for Ultra Street Fighter X, Ultra Street Fighter Alpha, Turbo Edition X.
I can't count that sarcasm or
a bit of sarcasm
because I don't follow Street Fighter.
The re-releases, dude.
I'm not a competitive gamer. I don't follow Street Fighter. I'm sorry, all of you Street Fighter fans. Those 2D games are just not my thing. But
I fight my friends.
Anyway, go on.
On the street.
Profound sadness. Ryu! Is that Ryu?
Ryu is not a
Anyways.
Is that Ryu?
Yes, it is.
Anyways. But yeah, and I hear you. And see, that's a really interesting thing, because we do live in an age where that is possible, and it's obvious from listening to everyone that most of our mixed feelings on DLC come from the abuse that DLC has received by various companies, at least from a content standpoint. From a balance standpoint, the biggest concern is, I really like how Anna put it, is can the metagame, is it just enough to just let the metagame develop on its own, or does it sometimes need that push to get past those obstacles, so to speak, that are holding it back? Oh, everyone's hands are up. It's our little rule to stop us from talking over each other, but
so I just kind of thought of this. So with PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale, they did a couple patches to balance. But one of those things I think could be really frustrating to gamers is they did a lot of patches and it totally changed the character. So if you're a Ganondorf main and they do all these patches, even if it makes it better, suddenly the physics and the hitboxes and everything you have is totally different. And so that, I know when I play Kirby in Brawl and then I play Kirby in Balance Brawl, that's enough to throw me off. And that's not even that different. And so I'm like, ooh, I wonder how patches would.
Right.
Yeah, and on that idea, Nintendo really likes going for both audiences. Especially recently, I think they've been trying to get into the competitive audience and the casual audience. And those kind of patches would really, I think, upset the casual audience because they really love their characters. They'll spend time, but they'll spend time learning stuff. They don't go as deep into it as competitive players, but they love their characters the way they are, and I think that changing that would break their poor little hearts.
It makes it focused on the competitive scene, and that is again where I feel like games like StarCraft and League of Legends. Well, I think that's a fault that comes, or that's part of what comes from their fault of patching too much, is that it draws you into only taking the game or looking at it from a competitive perspective. After you get all this low elo, what they call in League of Legends, the low elo smack talk. If you're in Bronze or Silver League, you just smack talking each other because it's the character's so good or whatever. It's just too much about thinking about the competitive aspects of the game. What do you honestly, most of them don't even know what they're talking about,
right?
Especially the people who are slamming it. So just don't patch it too much.
Exactly.
Another thing I was thinking of, I think it's interesting that you'll think the casuals will get so upset because I honestly feel like the casuals maybe won't notice the difference as much as the competitive people. I mean, the competitive people will definitely be able to adapt a lot better, just because I think they're kind of used to learning characters. But I think casuals, like, yeah, there will be little differences here and there, but they're just playing for fun. They aren't paying that much attention to what hitboxes are and things like that.
Well, that's the thing about it to me, though, is that they will notice little changes. They will notice the changes.
I feel the same
and
way.
they're going to develop into the people who will, like I was saying about League of Legends, that become bitter and start angsting or talking about it.
Let me jump in on that. No, something that is going to be very different about Smash 4 that other Smash Brothers did not have is going to be a robust online community. Having
Absolutely.
the online community is prefaced with a sort of, like, if you're active online, you're kind of leaving what we would consider a casual.
Even
And-
in the for fun mode?
Even in the Happy Pikmin Kirby for fun mode.
Well, I don't know, because nothing's safe on them.
Well, but the thing is, you're still playing regularly.
Part of a community.
You're still part of a community. And even if all you do is dink around with items, I mean, there are going to be people in your group who are going to start saying things about items being better than others. And online is it's a very fertile ground for developing more competitive-minded people. And I agree with what Anno says. And then add patching onto that, noticeable patching. People will start looking into what was going on and what's being changed. And then, as I do agree with that. And I do think the online aspect of Smash Brothers is really going to change the way casuals interact with the competitive.
Absolutely.
And so on that note, I tend to agree with all of you on this. I think, like I said, most of us, we have our reservations. We believe that there is a right way to do a DLC and a wrong way to do DLC in both. And so before I go into patches, let me just jump into content. Normally I would say no to content as well. But, I think we can all fairly agree that if it was released, we'd all buy it. There's no question. Oh, yeah, shoot.
And that's where I would disagree with Socito. I would love to see a character or a stage, that kind of thing added into the game later on. I would love that. But it needs to be, added on, like So's Time was added on to Skyrim. It needs to be added on to an already, finished, well-done game.
And it's true. And it adds
that's
for
my
so
only
much. And
perspective, so.
every one of us, when we finish a game, we're hungry for more. As Socito mentioned, Pikmin 3 DLC was really good. We're interested to see if Mario Kart 8 will get any sort of DLC, and frankly speaking, I'd welcome it. For me, when it comes to characters, I think not only is there a good way to do it, there's a really easy way to do it, and that was something they've already talked about, and we mentioned, or at least I've mentioned before, and that's through the figurines. If you could put the data on there, or if you could make that work,
The NFC, right?
then yeah, I'd be happy to buy a figurine with a new character. And then it doesn't even matter so much if I go to my buddy's house and he might not have downloaded it. The information is in the figurine and can be quickly put on for a session, for the session, or until it turns off.
I think if they have it in a figurine, they're not going to let that figurine's character be used on multiple consoles and stuff.
I have to disagree with that.
With what?
Well, like if let's say King Boo made it into a figurine that you can use him in Smash, I think they would have it so you could get it registered on your Wii U and get King Boo, but you couldn't go to your friend's house and get him King Boo. Otherwise, only one person would need to buy it.
Well, that's what the figurine's for.
Yeah, you have to have the figurine.
Right.
That's kind of the idea, I think.
And when the game is turned off,
While you play. Yeah. Oh, it'd go away after you turn the game off. Oh, I didn't see it like that. I thought it's permanently downloaded to the game.
No.
Okay.
It's Xbox One.
It's
before
the modern
the 180.
It's the modern CD, because you put in the CD and then you can play on your computer while you have the CD in, and you go to your friend's house and download their computer and play while you have the CD in. But as soon as you take that CD back to your house, your friend's screwed over. He's just got a bunch of wasted data.
Them disk key generators.
Back before anyone knew what an ISO was, right?
And I'll admit,
I don't know what an ISO is
it
now.
might not be technically possible, but I think if it could work, I think that would be something that would easily work for both casual and competitive. And frankly speaking, if I could get Wonder Red, Phoenix Wright, Bowser Jr., and Bandana D and Dark Samus in Smash Brothers, even if I had to wait, I would be happy.
Absolutely.
And it's the kind of thing I do understand the, it's kind of annoying for like people who have it, people who don't. And the thing is, I honestly don't think they'll do it. It's kind of adding that extra dev, and with the way Sakurai likes to be so detail-oriented on everything, I doubt he's going to want to keep getting pulled back.
Yeah.
Because I don't think he'll just let Nintendo's Nintendo, but I don't think he'll want to just let them keep adding characters and just throwing off the vision he's had.
I do agree with that. I think it's very unlikely, but I do think adding a character would make a lot of people happy and very few people upset. And those upset people are probably because they think someone deserves it more, or because the new character is busted and it's throwing off their game.
Well, and it's interesting because in a balanced setting, actually DLC content kind of works as a sort of balanced patch.
I mentioned that earlier.
I mean,
as like a counter pick.
Well, think about just Pokemon. I mean, you have look how different like the different gens are. Oh, there are some minor mechanic changes in each transition from Pokemon generation, but a lot of the big mix-ups are just new Pokemon being introduced.
Yep.
I mean, for the Meta Knight scenario in Brawl, I mean, what if he announced Bandana D and Bandana D just happened to, with his spear, just owned anything Meta Knight tried to do?
Infinite grabs.
But he sucks against Ganondorf. I mean, it's just one of those things that alone could really change up the metagame.
Yep.
And so,
interesting thing
The
to
meta
think about.
game.
well, Meta Knight.
Are you referring to Brawl?
Go. Come back when you can put up a fight.
Fight
me.
Oh, Meta Knight, I love you.
I hate him.
So I'm going to say.
I have mixed feelings.
I'm going to say, and okay, so let me talk. So let me talk about balancing in general. Yeah, I agree that over-reliancing. I made up a new word.
Reliance Appliance.
Whoa! Welcome to the redundancy department. I think I agree. That is definitely not the direction we want to go down. Especially with Smash, I think it would just add another layer of complications to things. I would be fine with some early patches, maybe the game comes out and there's a couple things Sakurai wants to just tune up.
Or a glitch.
A glitch or two, but very early on. And not only that, make sure Nintendo comes with the idea, or doesn't lead people on thinking there might be DLC later. I mean, I agree. Let's get focused on this metagame. Let's get deciding, and maybe down the road, another E3. But it's like we'll get a championship edition, and I wouldn't be upset.
Yeah.
So I will say no to general patching in general. I'm not gonna lie. I did play Pasaber, PlayStation All-Star Battle Royale. I played Jack, who is arguably a character who is in need of some buffing. And I looked forward to patches. I was hoping every patch note, I would read it, I would go straight to the Jack section, and I'd go straight to the people I really hated fighting and see what changes were made. And then maybe peruse through the other ones.
Yeah.
And, there was a point where my enjoyment of the game was just like, well, I'm kind of done, and maybe I'll try out the new patch or wait for the new patch, but it's just like, well, actually, I should be honest. I was actually enjoying just trying to figure it out for the time. But in the back of my mind, there was always like, I wish this would be patched. I wish this would be patched. I wish this would be patched.
Yeah, the kind of just having the option of patching there almost, I guess, makes you criticize the character.
I agree.
Actually, and so in that regard, I hate to be a if, but realistically, well, here, I'm going to say no for the following reason. No, because the only way I'd like it is if it would require kind of like sort of what a Blizzard or a League of Legends, where, at least from what I understand, that they're very open with the community and talking about balance and why they do what they do and things like that, so that it feels like we're growing with the developers as they're building it, and it keeps it dynamic and interesting. I would be okay if it was done through content, through new characters. But seeing as I doubt any of those are going to happen, I'm going to say no to DLC.
Okay.
in that regard, I would say yes. I'd love new content. Heck, if they did, I mean, I'm very angry every time I see a Club Nintendo soundtrack in Japan that does not come over to the U.S. And Smash is just one of those games that has just the best soundtracks ever. And so, I mean, I don't even care what it is. I'm happy for more, and of course, I'll pony up. I'm happy to. So yes.
We gotta go around doing the yay or nays.
So let's give our yays
That's what
and
we're
nays.
doing, I thought.
Yeah,
So-
well, let's give the official. Let's give the official. Nano, do you want content DLC?
No.
Do you want patching DLC?
Yes. Minor patching.
Minor. Consistent or maybe...
Whenever it is absolutely needed.
Okay, so you're saying in an extreme sort of scenario.
Yep.
Okay. Jelly.
Meta Knight Extreme.
Oh, that's actually... I was actually thinking about... That would be a neat discussion to talk about... Did Meta Knight need patching? But anyways, I won't jump into that. Jellyfish N.
Yes, sir.
Content patching.
Some form of it.
Clarification, please.
No, that's it. No.
No moves.
Nintendo surprised me. That's what I wanted to say. Like, really,
I can dig that.
that's
I
kind
can
of
dig
that's
that.
kind of what I
Ooh.
feel about it.
Show me what I want.
Show me your moves, Nintendo.
Announcing the Reggie Miyamoto Iwata Chimera.
Announcing all of the Cartoon Network Punchtime Explosion characters available in Smash Bros. 4.
Johnny Bravo top tier.
I would buy all of
Water.
them.
Okay. Balance patching.
If at all, very, 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 very limited,
Sparingly.
maybe even just once.
Okay.
I would maybe just say once.
All right. So Cedo content DLC.
As much as I think another character would be cool, I don't think it's likely, so I'm gonna say nay.
Okay. Balance DLC.
I think that it'd be good, like 6 months or a year after the game's released, after there's been some tournaments, to just fix any really busted or nerfed characters, kind of balance things out. So, yay.
Dang it! I just had a thought, and I'm like, we're doing the wrap up.
Yeah, I
That's
felt,
kinda
I
bad.
felt the same.
That's
thing.
kinda
You can put
bad.
it in the comments.
Or
I
just
actually
say,
will.
Just give your thing and then say
My
your
comment.
stuff. Your
Okay.
final
Like,
remarks.
you'll do like final thoughts.
Raid. Yes, you wonderful man.
Oh, snap.
What do you think about content DLC? I say heck yes. Show me the money, baby. I'm a poor college student. I'll sell my blood or whatever.
Stop eating. Yeah, we do
Plasma.
that all the time.
I'll sell
Ray will
blood.
be a new plasma donor.
Balance patches. Not gonna lie, it's
Thank
probably
you,
that it just says sure, why not? But I'll say maybe early on, but after that, no. And although I'll confess that part of it is because I have a heavy amount of confidence in the balance. Like, it's obviously
I do
going to be
too.
the most balanced
Big
game
time.
ever. Well, the Wii Fit Trainer's in it.
It will be.
The balance
most
board is in it.
Why the
That's
puns? Why?
Is that a pun?
Why not?
Absolutely. Let's go.
No
Love
pun.
it.
No pun Nintendo.
That's happening.
That's not mine. That is unoriginal. Just throwing that out. That's terminal montage. I
You
believe.
should watch them.
Plug. But yeah, so I'm kind of really just like whatever, but I'll say no. Maybe some early stuff, but let's just let the game go because it'll probably be pretty dang good.
Yeah, I do have confidence in Sakurai. As much as I say, oh yeah, they should do a patch a year or two. It's not because I don't think Sakurai will do a good job. It's just, you know how it is when you get millions of people playing one game. I mean, there's going to be something that they're going to miss. They're only human, but it might not be something big enough that they need to patch.
Well, the question I was going to say, if my final thoughts was like, it's kind of interesting to think about it, but do you think they're going to do a lot of extra balancing after the Smash Invitational?
Probably not. Maybe. I don't know.
Well, that's interesting.
I think absolutely. We're not going to let everything that goes exploit go.
that they exploit in their, like,
Yeah.
2 hours of glory.
Why do you think they didn't invite Mewtwo King? You can't exploit this.
Finds every chain grab. Shadow
No,
Moses!
because that's the thing. Mewtwo King just has the thing of finding the broken character and loving it.
I am never good at
Before
that.
Meta Knight was even good, he's like playing Meta Knight.
I'm
and
never
it's like,
good at that.
Oh wait, he's broken.
Okay. All right, cool. Let's give some final thoughts. Anyone else have anything else they want to add to this DLC rant discussion debate panel forum
Thing.
dojo?
I feel like regardless of whether we get DLC or patches, I have the faith that this game is going to be awesome. So I'm
Yes.
just excited to see whether or not I'm just open to see what happens. And
Totally.
We'll see what happens.
I do think Nintendo could surprise us. I wouldn't be surprised if they came out. Well, that doesn't make sense. At least I could catch myself eventually. See, here's one of the reasons we do these videos is so that we can catch just how ridiculous we are about our opinions.
It's recorded to history.
Right. Now it's forever recorded. But, like, I could see Nintendo, like, announcing at E3, like, we have a DLC system that we're going to plan where we will release a special character every month or something like that.
Oh,
You know, something dumb like that. But I agree. I think they could do some really cool stuff if they really wanted to. But I honestly don't think they will. If it's going to happen, it's probably going to be, like, maybe a bulk one or two. But apart from that, I don't think it will. Okay. So on the topic, right before we finish up, let's throw out a little tease to everyone. If you could add one character to the game, who would you add?
that is the
Yeah.
question.
Right. Think about it.
One that
It's
many.
Mewtwo. We don't know that he's
We can't talk about
confirmed yet, but I mean,
Jesse, are you
I would love Mewtwo in the game.
All we know.
So
Jesse, are you sure you want to ask people this? I mean, internet wars have been fought, and
Internet people have died.
dude, let's start with. We're starting with
eagles
Welcome.
have died.
Welcome to an episode
Dominant
of
War.
Dame War. Fanboy War. Just one innocent character. And it's just like a total free card. If you could just get one character in the
Even
game,
as ridiculous as like
Just
Piggy
throw your
Longstocking.
favorite character out that you want in the game.
keep it somewhat legit.
Aslan.
I'm going
Exactly.
to. I'm going to be a Miiverse representative and say Shrek.
Shrek.
Right.
This discussion
My
has gone
heart-
depth with it.
My heart goes out to all you Miiverse people. I love reading your posts. Thank you.
What was that me first post me like that? Anyway, Sophie?
All right. Yeah, I'm Sosie.
No, but what character?
Oh, what character?
Did she mean it when she said Pippi Longstocking?
Not really.
Did she mean herself? I would
Really,
main.
Aslan.
I've main Socido. Hashtag Socido. Whiny gamer hashtag.
I don't think I can say what I want for sure because I'm so.
Kirby's already in the game. So.
Kirby's already in the game. I think Bayonetta would be cool.
Whoa.
And the wonderful
That's just
ones
'cause
are
she-
great.
I'm kidding. Platinum fan.
Someone to compete with Zero Suit Samus.
There you go.
Wonder Pig?
Wonder Pink. I'm just gonna say Wonder Red or Phoenix Wright. That's what I
Wonder
did.
Pink.
Well, Phoenix Wright. If I were to be honest, I would say Phoenix Wright. And I'll even throw out Bomberman. Why not?
Bomberman dropping the
Wright's pretty awesome.
bomb.
Drop that bomb.
Cool. Okay, join us for next time.
What about
on
Anos?
Anos and Mewtwo.
Oh, okay. All right.
Wait, who's Anom?
All
Did
right.
we invite
No,
him?
you were closing. Keep
Sakurai
closing.
just wants
Who's
to laugh
Anna?
at you that you said Mewtwo. You don't know what that means.
Sakurai laughs.
He laughs.
Even Onuma laughs.
Oh, that's right.
He says, tell them I laughed.
Tell them I laughed. Just tell them I laughed.
Dude, hopefully one day we'll be so famous that we can be quoted as saying, tell them I laughed. Okay, so I hope you all enjoyed. We'd love to know what you guys think, whether or not it will happen and whether or not it's a good idea.
And just what you think about it in general.
Yeah, if you think it could be done in a good way. If you think Nintendo will announce it at E3.
It could
Which,
be used for good or evil.
we have a week till E3, everyone. So, as Ike would say, prepare yourself. You'll get no sympathy from E3.
You know, we need to make a meme like that, you know, the prepare yourselves meme, but it has to have Ike on there.
Hype train.
That's true. Okay.
Does Alfonso drive the hype train?
When Reggie's playable.
I'd play Reggie.
Yeah, you would. All right, everyone.
All right, well, this has been.
Oh no, that's the wrong video. What the heck? I was gonna surprise you all by using this random video we found again, but
End.
E3, everyone.
right now,
Pipe. Do this right now.
right, end this right now. All right, I'm Red.
I'm Sosie.
I'm Jelly.
I'm Enno.
Thanks for joining us today on another episode of Dame Random Rants.